Hi everyone, I'm literally just in my living room. I've just decided to do this video. Teddy's probably gonna wake up and start screaming in a minute. My house isn't clean. I've not really been that productive today. But I just thought I'd do a really real video talking about Teddy will be 6 weeks on Thursday, so how the first 6 weeks have gone, the realities of having a newborn, especially with a big gap, being a single parent, how that all pans into it and everything like that. So obviously I am so over the moon to have Teddy. I've really wanted another baby. Romeo, my oldest, is 7, so it's been a really big gap, and I was quite nervous for what Romeo was gonna be like because it's just been me and him the whole time. I'm a single parent, so we are literally best friends. Like, we couldn't be closer, and he's used to just having me to himself, and he's such a mummy's boy, so I was really worried how it would affect him. And first few days were absolutely amazing. Like, he was so excited and he was really good, and then I think it started to say like, oh no, mummy's not just mine anymore. So we started playing up a little bit at home, just being, because Romeo's not a naughty boy at all, but just being a little bit naughty and really craving attention. Like, if someone came to see Teddy, like, he'd just be dancing around in the living room and just doing all this stuff to really crave attention. And it did get me stressed because I thought, oh god, and he'd say things like, oh, you don't need me anymore, you've got the baby, grandma, and all of this. So it was really upsetting, and I'm sure other people with a big gap, or who have just had one child and then after a while had another one, have dealt with this. So I just want to be really honest about it, because on my Instagram it can look like everything's been so perfect, but there was a really stressful week or two, and I found myself crying about it because I loved Romeo so much. I didn't want him to feel like he wasn't loved and he wasn't getting enough attention, so I was really trying to spend as much quality time with him as I could, as well as doing all the other mum bits. So I'd be playing football with him constantly and playing his games with him, but it just got to a point where I was literally spreading myself too thin. Like, I had to look after Teddy as well and be there for Romeo. So I just decided, you know what, he's a 7-year-old boy, he's a really good boy, I just need to talk to him logically and just say, you know, you can't make mummy feel guilty for having to look after Teddy. Mummy loves you and I love Teddy equally, and I do need to share my time now, and just because I need to feed Teddy or do anything like that doesn't mean that mummy's forgot about you. It just, I need you to help me, and this is your baby brother, and just tried to make it like, you know, we're in this together and it's a great thing. And although there's not as much time with mummy, you know, it's not fair to make me feel guilty almost. And I really had to drill that in, because like I said, we are so close, and I did have the worst mum guilt. But then I thought, no, Charlotte, like, come on, you're not doing anything wrong, you're sharing your time as much as you can, you're being the best possible mum you can. And Romeo, as much as an amazing kid as he is, and he is the best kid in the world, he was just acting a little bit spoiled. But that's expected. So I don't think he's, you know, he's not spoiled, but he was acting that way just because he didn't know how to handle his emotions. And I think this is an important thing for us all to remember, that kids, they can't convey what they're feeling like we can. They can't explain what they're feeling, so it will come out in other ways. And you know, it is to be expected that there is going to be, oh, let me just pick him up. Hey, Teddy. Is to be expected that there is going to be differences in behaviour, and it's going to take them some time to get used to it as well. So if you are going through the same thing, I wouldn't beat yourself up about whether you're spending the right amount of time with each kid or how they're adjusting to it. Just know that you're doing your best. And ever since that conversation, you know, Romeo's been absolutely amazing. He knows that I love him more than anyone could ever love someone, and that I do just need to share my time, and he's been an absolutely great big brother ever since. So I think it was just, it's a lot for him, and it is a lot for them to take in, but I think we're all getting used to the new family dynamic properly now, and we're so happy together. And Romeo absolutely adores Teddy. He always kisses him before bed, he always wants to see him first thing in the morning, he loves feeding him, because I'm breast and bottle feeding. I'll talk about that in a minute. And yeah, it's just absolutely lovely. So just in case anyone had been on my Instagram and was just feeling like their you know, that it looks all rainbows and sunshine, no mum's life's like that. So it hasn't been. There has been some stressful days. There's been days I've been crying and feeling like a failure too. So we're all in it together, but we're definitely all not failures. Next thing I'll update you on is my breastfeeding journey. So I breastfed with Romeo, breastfed with him for a few months, but I was 19 at the time and I had Romeo, and I was so much more self-conscious about doing it in public and what people thought. I breast and bottle fed with him from the beginning, and then I just ended up going to bottle after a few months. This time around I've started solely breastfeeding, but Teddy started to, and breastfeeding, it's not like bottle feeding. They will just feed as and when. It's not like a 3-hour gap that you should expect. It's literally when baby cries, you should let them feed on you. But he just kept being really hungry as well, and it was like constantly on my boobs and they were getting quite sore. So I thought I'm just gonna add the odd bottle in there just to give my boobs a bit of a break. So I started adding the odd bottle in there, and he was still getting really hungry, so I put him on the hungry baby milk, and he was still waking up like an hour and a half later, whether he was on my boob or having that. So now literally I just give him a bottle when my boobs need a bit of a break, but I do want to primarily breastfeed. One, because it's such amazing bonding time with your child. It really is. I can't explain. It definitely releases the oxytocins too. It's the best thing for them. If you don't choose to breastfeed, that's absolutely fine. If you're not comfortable with it, I'm not one of them people that's like, oh, it's the best thing and you should do it. No, do mum however you want to mum, but I just want to mum breastfeeding the most I can. So yeah, it's really good for them. It's convenient, it's money saving, there's so many pros to it, and I'm really going to try and do it as long as I can this time. People, I'm trying to think what people would want to know about my breastfeeding. So like I said, it's not just every 3 hours. Baby should feed when baby wants to feed. Again, try to feed on both breasts equally if you can. I think with Romeo I got a bit more comfortable, I think it was on my left boob, just because it's more comfortable to hold him that way. But I definitely make sure I feed on both boobs, so that I don't get any lumps, or the milk production stays the same in both of them. I haven't had any problems breastfeeding, apart from I used a manual breast pump, and again, I'm just gonna move it. My nipples look, they're quite big, you know, like they are. Probably bigger than like what the pump was sized for. Whether I just didn't use the pump right, I don't know. But I ended up, when I was pushing on it, I ended up like probably pulling it too tight, and I felt the pain of it when it was on me. And then I ended up getting like a cyst on my nipple, and it was quite a big, really painful lump. So for 2 days that was really, really painful. I carried on, I googled what to do, and it said to carry on breastfeeding on it because it will help it go down, and it actually ended up bursting. It didn't look nice. Sorry for all my gory stories all the time, but it did end up bursting, and it's gone back to normal now. But just to be really careful when you are picking a breast pump, I literally just picked up any manual one because I thought I'm hardly going to use it. I'm mainly going to have them on my boobs all the time. It's just if I need it. But next time I'd definitely look more into them. I'd probably get an electric one as well, just so you're not manually doing it, because like I said, I hurt myself doing it, and I don't think with an electric one that could have happened as much, because there'll be a certain tightness it comes to. So I definitely recommend that. Sleeping, he's got a lot better. Like I said, at first he was waking up like every hour and a half, 2 hours for the first few weeks. Yawn. The last few days he's been sleeping a lot better. He's been going about 2.5 to 3 hours for a feed. I'm really, really lucky that I live with my mum. After the morning feed and stuff, if I just need to go back to bed for half an hour, she'll just take him for me for half an hour so I can get that sleep. It is harder to nap when he naps because, one, I have Romeo, who would never want me to be asleep if I'm with him. He'd always want me to be playing with him and having fun. So it's really hard to nap when he's here. And also, I don't like to feel too unproductive, if that makes sense. Like, I like to do a bit of tidying up, or just have time to do something, or even just watch some TV, just a bit of me time, because as a mum we know me time is very restricted. But I would recommend just trying to get as much sleep as you can, because it does really affect our mood, and it affects what we can do, and it affects our health. So if you can get a nap in, try do it, even if it's just for half an hour. I think we have, like, even myself, I have to talk to myself sometimes, like, Charlotte, you're putting so much pressure on yourself to be productive, but you're literally keeping a little baby alive and feeding a little baby. Like, that's the most productive thing you can do. So it doesn't matter if you're not, you know, building shelves in quarantine and blitzing the whole house and starting a £1 million business or whatever. The most productive thing you can do is what you're doing, and that's looking after your baby. You don't need to be any more productive than that. You don't need to be going out doing things. You don't need to do any of that. So try not to put as much pressure on yourself, she says to you and herself. Yeah, what else can I talk about? Really sorry, this is so unplanned that I literally haven't planned what I'm going to talk about. So I've talked about sleep, talked about my breastfeeding. Anything else? Just, I forgot how overwhelmed you can get. So obviously being single parent, when I'm out on my own with Teddy, it, you know, if he starts crying in the shop and I've got my pushchair and it's just me and I'm trying to pick him up and I'm trying to do the shopping that I needed to do, and you could just, and they'll always kick off when you're busy in a public place and you're worried about what people are thinking, and when your hands are full and you need to balance out all these things, and you know, these things will always happen and you can get really, really overwhelmed. So what I'd suggest is just, when you can go out with someone else, definitely bring someone along just to be a helping hand. To really try not to worry about what people are thinking. Babies cry, it's a normal thing. If your baby's screaming its head off, I'm sure people around you have either been in that situation with their own kids or will be in that situation, or probably just a lot more understanding than you thought they were going to be. Anyway, so I try not to worry too much about that. I'd make sure you get a pushchair with a big basket underneath it. Mine isn't that big and it can be quite inconvenient when I'm shopping because I can only fit like one bag under it rather than loads like I could with Romeo's pushchair. So that would be a recommendation. And oh my god, these yawns. And yeah, try to stick to your list what you're going out for, and that way anything else, any added extras, and not like weighing you push, you know, you're not filling your hands too much. And just try to do a bit more online so it comes to your door. You're not trying to do the most balancing, a baby in one arm, you push her in the other, and shopping bags up it, and I don't know, a sandwich because you haven't ate all day, because that happens. Like, there's been days where I've been so busy trying to sort out Teddy and Romeo and myself that I'm like, oh my god, I haven't eaten yet, and that is not a good place to be in. I'm so sorry for yawning. But overall I'm feeling really, really well. My stitches have all healed up really nicely. My breastfeeding journey is going well. Personally, I feel really happy. The first few weeks, again, I think it's because my hormones were elevated. My OCD was flaring up quite high. Pregnancy and stuff can do that anyway. But it'd been quite alright in my pregnancy, but I noticed that my intrusive thoughts were just a little bit more prominent. So I carried on taking my medication and just tried to keep calm, and just remembered that I am having elevated levels of hormones at the minute. Like, my hormones are elevated at the minute, and it will pass, and now I'm feeling a lot better. So just be aware that when in the first few weeks when your hormones are starting to balance themselves out again, and they kind of are everywhere, that any mental health problems or anything like that could feel like they're a little bit heightened, but after a few weeks that should subside. Yeah, so Romeo's, like I said, had some trouble with the older sibling. Not, I don't even want to call it trouble, but there was some stresses, but that's evened out now, and just really happy with everything. Really looking forward to Christmas. I know where I am, we're in tier 3, and it's just been a really weird year, hasn't it? But I think all we can do is try to be positives with our newborns and just have the best time we can. So I hope you guys like this really random chatty video of my honesty with the first 5 weeks of having a newborn with an older child. If there's any more videos you want me to do, please let me know, and hopefully I'll speak to you guys soon. Okay, bye.